What are you looking forward to this weekend? Here's the top 6 things I cannot wait to watch unfold. You know what number 1 is. It's the rivalry. Yes, Washington at Oregon in Autzen. There's so much great history to this game. And we haven't had a game like this in recent years among these two teams with so much at stake. Let's just talk about 2 first-year head coaches. First time coaching in this rivalry. They're very well versed on what this game is. How about 2 quarterbacks playing not just at the top of the Pac-12, but arguably top 2 in the country? You can have that conversation around Bo Nix for sure as a Heisman candidate, and Michael Penix Jr., he is simply dealing. There's so much minutia to dive into that just lights you up around this game. And then ultimately, talking about a CFP caliber team in the Oregon Ducks. This is a statement opportunity. This is 2 top 25 teams. Everything will be on the line. Pac-12 title appearance on the line. So much at stake. Number 2 is the college football playoff narrative. I just love how this conference is positioned in the last few weeks of the season. You can't argue it. We're looking at the top 3 teams that are in consideration for the college football playoff. All 3 have a Heisman candidate, and all 3 of them play the quarterback position. Bo Nix playing at a premier level. Caleb Williams, I don't know if there's one guy you'd rather have in a tight game than him. He's an absolute baller. Oh, and don't forget, and don't sleep on Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Absolute mastery under Chip Kelly's system. And with that said, all 3 of those teams, I think, have a path, if they're able to win the Pac-12 championship with 1 loss, to walk right in to the CFP. The third thing I'm most looking forward to is the idea of bowl or no bowl. I love this. Washington State against Arizona State. Washington State wins, they go to a bowl berth. Arizona State loses, they don't have a chance at the postseason. I just love watching teams when their backs are against the wall and there's no margin for error. We're talking about Arizona going to UCLA. No margin for error if they want to take that true next step and go to the postseason under Jedd Fisch. The Cal Bears, I'll be there in Corvallis. What's it like for them? Played probably their best offensive game of the season against USC. Well, backs against the wall now. No margin for error against Oregon State. And then Stanford. We know what happened last year against Utah. We know what happened last weekend against Washington State. Not the Stanford team that we thought we would see this season. How do they respond? I just think when you have veterans on your team, senior leaders, and all those teams have that, and inspiring coaches, all those teams have that, they're playing for a lot. I can't wait to see how it shakes out. The fourth thing I'm most looking forward to this weekend is Arizona at UCLA. Let's start with Arizona. Jedd Fisch was one time the interim head coach at UCLA, and even in consideration for the full-time head coaching job. He didn't get it. Chip Kelly did. Jedd Fisch went on to the NFL and coached for Sean McVay back in the NFL. Now he's a head coach, and he's got a team full of young players from Southern California. They will be up for this game after a tough and brutal stretch of opponents. For UCLA, they're playing for a lot. Not only a chance to go to the Pac-12 championship, but a chance to walk into the college football playoff. And I think that will happen if they are able to win out. A reason why they'd be able to win out? Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's a Heisman candidate. Let's continue to talk about him that way. He's put his team on his back. Hasn't had Zach Charbonnet. Wasn't there last week. We'll see if he plays this weekend. The defense for UCLA hasn't had Bill McGovern, their defensive coordinator, the last 2 weeks. We wish him the absolute best with his health, and if he can come back, I think that'll be a big boost to this defense. Number 5 for me is in LA on Friday night. Colorado at number 8, USC. And for USC, the question is, who will we see on a short week? Jordan Addison, Mario Williams, Lincoln Riley said they've been close. Do they go? How about Eric Gentry? One of the most, if not the most impactful defender in this league. Inside linebacker, 6'6", with a 7'6.25" wingspan. He just impacts the game when he's in. And they need those 3 players to be in if they want to take a real run at the college football playoff. Now, one thing we know we can see from USC is guys are going to elevate. The culture that Lincoln Riley has established in such a short period of time is dramatically impressive. We've seen young wide receivers elevate. We've seen defenders elevate, namely Tuli Tuipulotu. He's been all over the field. He'll have to be all over the field on Friday night if USC wants to set up an epic weekend in LA against UCLA. Number 6 for me is the game that Ted Robinson, my partner, and I will be at. It's Cal at Oregon State, 6 o'clock Pacific. Cannot wait to get there, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why. 1, Cal Bears, backs against the wall. 0 margin for error if they want to go bowling this year. And if they're able to go bowling, they're going to need another big-time performance from their quarterback, Jack Plummer. coming off his best performance of the season against USC, threw for over 400 yards. Can he do that against the most complete secondary in the Pac-12? Yeah, I feel that confident about the Oregon State back end. Now, this Oregon State defense, they're familiar with Jack Plummer. Jack Plummer last year played at Purdue. Purdue beat Oregon State to kick off the 2021 season, and Jack Plummer completed over 70% of his passes. What is this matchup like? Then when you flip it, when the Beavs have the ball, who's going to be QB1? Is it Ben Gulbranson, or is Chance Nolan finally back and healthy? And what does Jonathan Smith decide to do? A lot of storylines in this ball game. I think for both of these programs, it's kind of a must win.